Dialogue.
Watch The Dialogue this and every Monday to Friday at 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. only on Net2 TV.
I have with me here Jim, as we always call him. He has been 42 years practicing journalism with one of the best institutions when it comes to journalism in America and the world, Wall Street Journal. Jim, good morning and welcome to The Dialogue.
Good morning to you, sir.
I'm so happy to have you, Jim.
It is very nice to be here. It's always a pleasure to see you again. I very much enjoyed watching the football game outside of your office. I didn't like the outcome, and I had made a bet with the woman who manages the hotel I stay.
Oh, I see.
And I bet that Ghana would win, and she bet against Ghana.
And she won.
She won. So I'm trying to say, this is your country. I'm trying to be patriotic, and you're betting against your own country.
I bet she's been more patriotic than you because she knows what has gone into the whole thing. Probably better than you.
She said that, and when I watched your team play, I could see it, which was they had a lot of talent. I thought they had more talent than Tunisia, but they didn't play like a team. They played like a bunch of guys who'd never played together. The passing wasn't crisp. When they had good shots, they went over, they went around.
A couple of mistakes here and there.
A couple of mistakes here and there, but in a game that's decided by one goal.
Yeah, you needed to. I mean, it was a fate decider. It was kind of all we needed to cross to the next stage. But then they're back in town. We're going to deal with them as we have to. I mean, it's a taxpayer's money. So we really look into what happened, what went wrong, who needs to go home and who needs to stay.
Well, it wasn't for lack of effort. I didn't think that they didn't try. They hadn't practiced enough together.
Yeah. Jim, you have practiced journalism for 42 years.
Yes, sir.
You were a one-time Pulitzer Prize award winner for the 9/11 incident. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, what happened to us is our office at the time was in Lower Manhattan, and it was across the street from the South Tower of the World Trade Center. So when the aircraft hit the towers, our building was right in the shadow. It would be like across the street here.
You can see it from the window.
It's across the street. And we were evacuated from our building, and I was asked by my boss that was there a possibility that we could continue to make the Wall Street Journal. It would be like the parallel would be there's some catastrophe outside your door, and the police say leave the building. Could Net2 stay in business? You know, that's sort of the
situation.
It was all of our people, all of our equipment, all of our transmission lines. So we had a backup plan, and I was the architect of the backup plan because I was the head of operations. And we had an office in New Jersey about 80 kilometers away. And so I told the boss, yes, we can do this, but we have to get out of here. So I managed to leave the building. We were told to leave. We sent a note by email to the entire, we had 800 journalists at the Wall Street Journal around the world. And I said, we're leaving the building. We will be
in New Jersey.
In New Jersey, but we're going to be out of contact. So the news report should be managed by the Washington office. So work with them. And then when we get ourselves organized, we'll let you know when we're back online. It turned out that almost none of our journalists got out of New York. Because when the tower fell, all the bridges and the tunnels and the railroad, everything
were shut down.
And Manhattan is an island. And I had managed to get on a boat. Because I normally I take a train, but the train was underneath the World Trade Center, so I wouldn't go there.
You couldn't go.
So I managed to get across the river, and as I was crossing the river, the South Tower fell. So I got to see it. Horrible. I did see people before I got on the boat. I saw people jumping from the windows in the North Tower.
So you made a report out of that?
No, I didn't. My job was to kind of organize the newsroom, so that we had lots of eyewitnesses, and so in an emergency situation, everybody has to. It's like
give
a football
an eyewitness
team.
account.
You have to also play the role that you have to play. It would be like the striker saying, the fullback saying, "I want to be the striker today." Well, no, you're the fullback.
Yeah, so
Like,
you need
do
to
your
hold
job.
your fort.
So I managed to get to New Jersey, and we had an office there, and the engineers had set up the backup newsroom, and you know I was the only person there. You know, we were set up for 60 people, and there was no one
but
there.
you run it all by yourself.
But little by little, people came
Okay.
in. And none of my boss or some of the other top editors, none of them got out of New York. And so my boss told me, he said, you're in charge. So you do what you have to do. So what that meant was if someone walked in, a journalist, an editor, and his job was to manage foreign news, I would say, no, today you're not.
You're not doing foreign news. We're changing everything.
We're changing everything because we are like, this is almost like we're an army,
Yeah.
and we've lost a battle.
So we need to regroup
We
and
need to
then fight
regroup
ahead.
and dig in and hold. And so we managed to get ourselves organized. We had maybe 1/5 the people we normally have to produce the edition.
Wow.
We produced the edition. It was a very, very, not just that we made it under very unusual conditions. We received a lot of credit for that. But where we got more credit was that the journalism was very good. The stories were very insightful. And for that, we were awarded the Pulitzer Prize.
Burst, okay.
And I was
You were the man in charge.
I was selected
the man.
to receive it.
Okay.
So when there was a big awards lunch, I received it. And the Pulitzer Prize has 3 pieces. It has
Okay.
a check, money,
Oh, how much was that?
7,500 US.
Holy.
But that wasn't mine.
Oh man, it goes to your company. So
No. We didn't even give it to the company because the events happened on September 11th, 2001. The prize, when we go to pick it up, was in April of 2002. So it was quite some time
yeah.
afterwards. And in that time frame, one of our reporters had been murdered.
Oh,
Danny Pearl.
okay.
He had been murdered in Pakistan by Al-Qaeda people.
Yeah, the
Beheaded him.
slaughter, yeah, I think it was
And,
viral.
and
it went
so
viral.
we gave the money to his wife,
family,
his
okay.
widow. And then the other piece is there's a certificate, and the certificate hangs in
the office,
headquarters.
okay.
And then there's a third piece, there's a piece of crystal
Yes, a plaque, yeah.
with an inscription.
Yeah.
And I get to keep that.
I get that.
So it was very
Man,
nice.
You got something. That was a fair
But
deal.
it was, but it was a terrible
Experience.
a terrible experience. I'd never seen. I've been in hospital rooms when my relatives are ill. I've seen death.
But seeing people throw out of the window or jump out of the window.
Jump out of a window when you view, you know, it's
It looked like a movie, right?
yes. It was like you knew it was certain death.
Yeah.
And what they were doing was choosing how to die. So you either are roasted to death in the flames,
Or you just jump out.
or you jump and you have one last breath of
say.
air, and then you die.
Jim, you've practiced for 42 years.
Yes,
You
sir.
retired as a managing editor for the Wall Street Journal, a very big institution. You've been in Ghana for some time. Tell us your experience in Ghana. We'll wrap up probably with that.
My experience in Ghana has been exceptionally positive. I've never been to Ghana. I'd never been to Africa. I'd been all around other parts
Other
of the
places.
world. I was overdue to come here. And I came with the students from the University of Oregon who are interns.
Go
And-
Ducks.
Go Ducks.
Go Ducks.
And it's very nice to see an Oregon alumni do
Yeah.
so well in his homeland. My experience here with the people is this is a very aspirational society. It's developing quickly. It has a lot of very talented people. I think the people are friendly and kind and also graceful, which is a trait that I don't see enough of in the world. The people have grace. It still has hardship.
Yeah.
It's still evolving, but I think it has a good story to tell. I always felt safe here. I always felt people were looking out for me. I'm very fond of this country. My
Wow.
first experience was exceptionally positive. I would love to return sometime.
Beautiful. We would love to have you anytime, any day. I mean, we can work things out for you to get a good settlement and start some media work. Actually, Net2 TV, we can actually hire you to work with us. So we'll talk about that behind the scenes.
Okay,
Jim,
behind the
not
scenes.
on air. Jim, tell us a few things you've learned in Ghana, and let's wrap up with that. What have you learned your few weeks in Ghana?
Well, what
I've learned some tree words.
I've learned a few. I've learned, and I can't
Say them out.
get them out. I can
But
say,
if someone
I can
say X is saying,
I'd say, yo.
yeah.
I'm terrible with my tweet.
Yeah.
And so this country allows me to be lazy because people will speak English to me.
Yeah.
So I'm lazy.
If they would speak Chi to you anytime, it would force you to learn the Chi.
It would force me, if you put me in a place where there was no English spoken,
You would be forced to speak the other language.
What is the word? Necessity is the mother of invention.
True.
Right?
True.
If I was required to learn,
Then
I'd
you
learn.
will, yeah.
And another thing I really liked in this country, and I've seen this somewhere, and I think it's a very important thing for journalists to remember. It was I gather that in this country there are a lot of proverbs or a lot of sayings.
Yeah.
And they're bits of wisdom. The one I liked was before you do something or before you say something, is it true? Is it necessary? And is it kind?
Great.
And some things you say are true and they're necessary, but they're not kind. And as a journalist, sometimes you're required to do that. But you should make sure that it is true and necessary.
Well, Jim, we would like to thank you so much for the time.
Thank you very much,
And
James.
we are great to have you. Jim is the retired managing editor on the Wall Street Journal with the Wall Street Journal. He's from the US of A and actually from University of Oregon. If it's in Ghana, actually, that is my school.